everyone, and welcome to Mindset Nebula podcast. This is a podcast where we talk about SAP, we talk about technology, and the topic of today is SAP TechEd and ASAC Tech Connect, the events that have just wrapped up and are fresh in everyone's mind. I have with me amazing guests and hosts. So I will let everyone to introduce themselves. Let's begin with Ethan Jewett is our returning host. Ethan, please say hi.
Yep. Hey, I'm Ethan. I think listeners have met me before. I'm Director of DevOps and Development and Technology at Mindset, and I got to attend TechEd in Bangalore this year, so it was great.
Awesome. And I should have started with myself. I'm Elena Perfilova. I'm expert SAP developer at Mindset. And we have folks from our India team today. We have Akhil Das. Please, Akhil, introduce yourself.
Yes, thanks, Arina. Good morning, good evening. Myself, Akhil. I am working as a senior UI developer, and this was my first TechEd where I was present there. And it was a great opportunity to understand what's happening, connect with a lot of people. Yes, that's all from my side. Thank you.
Awesome. And we have Vinita Sanktani. Vinita, please introduce yourself.
Hello everyone, I'm working as a developer with Mindset and I'm an ex-SAP. I have worked with SAP for almost 4.5 years now. So it was great going back to the family again and reliving those moments which we lived in the past. So yeah,
Awesome.
that's all from my end.
Awesome. And Kirtana Subramani.
Yeah, hi. Hi everyone. I'm Keetana Subramani. I'm working as a SAP backend developer in Mindset. It's my second SAP event. I have attended one SAP SIT event as a speaker by the month July. Although I have attended there as a speaker, but this SAP TechEd is very new and I was able to attend almost in every sessions. I was able to attend over there, and I was a little bit confused. And there was around 300 sessions was there, and my plan to SAP take it is a last minute plan, so I'm not able to attend that much hands-on session in that. Maybe next decade, if it is happening in India, I'll be able to plan myself and I'll be able to go with it.
Awesome.
Yeah,
And
that's it from my.
awesome. Thank you, Kirtana. And last but not least, Rajesh Verma. Rajesh, please introduce yourself.
Hey, thanks, Alina. Good morning and good evening, everyone. I'm Rajesh Verma. I work for Mindset. I'm a principal consultant, works for Mindset India. And I've been attending SAP TechEd. I don't even remember exactly count the number because I lived in the SAP transformation journey, and that is where I started 2003 when there was one very good play with Josh, who's actually a developer keynotes, and they shown the very interesting transformation of 2003, nearly 2 decades. They were celebrating 2 decades in the SAP transformation all the way, and I like the most because I have lived through that journey. So it gives a lot of flashback of your memory. Where we started, where are we standing today, what topic that we are talking. So I remember when I was attending TechEd in past, it always goes with various transformation. Like I can tell you some point, but yeah, it was like when enhancement pack been introduced in ECC. Today we are talking about GenAI. So it was interesting and fabulous experience in TechEd 2023.
Awesome. So we kind of rolled into our impressions of the event questions. So
Yeah.
Ethan, I know that you attended TechEd in other countries, in the US at least. And so what is your impression, maybe, I don't know, comparing and contrasting your previous pre-COVID TechEd experience with the latest in India?
Yeah, I mean, I think this was, if I'm not mistaken, I think this was the first post-COVID in-person TechEd. Am I right about that? I can never remember.
There was a mini one last year, which
there was a mini one
kind of
last year.
Yeah,
Yes, it was.
Yeah,
Yes.
no one
Mostly
counts
virtual.
it. So you're
Yeah,
right.
yeah. So yeah, this one This one was a good one. There were definitely, it was sort of like, there were some first conference hiccups, I guess, in some ways. So it didn't go as smoothly as I think SAP and all the attendees would have preferred in some senses. But I think overall it was good. It was great. This is the first tech Ed I've attended in India. There are a bunch of people we know, I think, have attended before, but I had not gotten to. So that was a great experience. And it was really different because I think we went there with a team of 18 or so people from Mindset. And that was a totally different experience going to Tech Ed. So I can't exactly compare it. Previously, I've always gone to Tech Ed either by myself or with one or two colleagues. And so it was a totally different experience going with the whole team.
Yeah. And I watched only virtual part of it, the keynotes and some of the sessions. The keynote watching was a little bit weird. We could only see this through the camera lens, and camera work was a little bit weird.
That was one
event,
of the hiccups. One of the hiccups.
yeah, it's rather bizarre, but that's okay. So it happens all the time. So I just want to right away address the big elephant in the room, that big topic, AI, generative AI specifically. So who wants to take it? Who has any hot takes on AI subject?
It was everywhere. Yeah, I mean the keynotes were just like AI all the time, kind of.
Yeah.
You know, I don't know. I'll say one thing, and then I think other people should give your impressions. I thought SAP was much more solid on Gen AI, what it is, what it's useful for, what the drawbacks are, way better than they were at Sapphire in the spring. At Sapphire, they were kind of, I think many of the leadership team had a pretty good idea of what was going on, but I don't think there was a good shared consensus within SAP. And there were a lot of different messages, some of which were simply wrong about Gen AI and how it was going to work. I think this time around it was much more consistent, much more solid messaging, many fewer mistakes. And I think SAP has gotten themselves in a good place to actually start using Gen AI to design products at this point. We can talk about whether the products that they talked about at Tech Ed are good ones, that they're not going to have 100% hit rate, but I think they've gotten themselves in a much better position.
Yeah, that was definitely very interesting subject, and yeah, we were while we were watching, we almost had like a drinking game every time AI was said, and it was fun to watch. Anyone else? Any thoughts on AI from anyone?
Yes, Alina. So, Alina, sorry,
Yes, sorry, Akhil, go ahead.
So, Alina, right from the keynote, whether it is business keynote or executive keynote, the most commonly used two words were generative AI or Joule, which is a co-pilot.
Yeah.
So all the demos were basically associated with using Joule, whether it is in SAP Build Code or whether it is in ABAP Cloud or DataSphere or the HANA Cloud. Yeah, so it's something new which they haven't introduced before, and everybody was curious what it was showing, whether the job of the developers would be reduced or not. That was an interesting part which I noticed.
Yeah. Sorry, Vinita, you were saying.
Yeah, the same thing. I read about an interesting fact recently about Joule, why Joule was given a word for AI and not any other term. So this was basically related to James Joule, whose invention led to law of conservation of energy. So this was one of the topic which I read about recently, was since you need to put in more of the efforts where it is required and not where it is not supposed to be. So that's where Joule's law of conservation of energy also comes in, where he also talks about you should consume your energy where it is actually required. So the same thing I felt it was applicable throughout the areas what they took into TechEd. So it was introduced almost in every area of BTP, may it be automation, may it be DataSphere, may it be BTP, all the areas you can integrate together. Even in the integration also, they have introduced Joule. So that was an interesting topic of how it can only build a layer for you, but the internal part of coding which needs to be taken care by the individual itself. So the business logic you have to take care, whereas it will just give you a framework around it. So that
Interesting.
might be able to little bit clarify that developer's job is still intact.
So, thank you, Vinita.
Yeah, it was an interesting pitch to come at a developer conference and be like, "Well, this is going to do all the development for you." That was an interesting take on the approach. I think we all kind of understand it's not, but yeah, it was interesting.
Yeah, AI is taking our jobs. So there were some other updates that we wanted to just touch point briefly. Akhil, you mentioned that you wanted to talk about Fiori UI5 roadmap. Please take us away.
Yes, Alina. So, luckily, the program manager for UI5, that is Oliver Gray, showed us the roadmap, and there was also on his workshop. So mainly what I could grab is the mainly 3 points of the introduction of pro-code tools, that is SAP uh, build, uh, build code, and then flexible programming model, and the other one was using of TypeScript. Currently SAP Build, which was in the previous decade, they showed as a low code, no code one. So currently they are building it as a platform for pro code also. That is, a user can create a low code as well as a pro code from SAP Build. So they have to do that. They had something called SAP Build Code, I believe. Yeah, SAP Build Code. You kind of like navigate to the SAP Business Application Studio itself. That is one thing. And the flexible programming model. So that is UI can be developed using Fury elements as well as using freestyle. So they came up with something called flexible programming model, where they have combined both into a single one. That is, developer can use the capabilities of the Fury elements as well as the freestyle to develop the application. And the last one, TypeScript. So on the on-hands workshop, Oliver showed us or encouraged us to mostly using the TypeScript. As a developer, it was a happy moment for me because I had earlier never used TypeScript, but after using it, it was really beautiful with all the, rather than executing, rather than executing to understand the data type or the return type, everything was given in the code itself and helped us to investigate the code or understand the code pretty easily. So this TypeScript will be available from the UI5 library 1.120. Yes, I think that's all.
Awesome. Yeah, thank you for sharing.
TypeScript's going to be really nice because you won't have to the sort of the process of building UI5 applications is a lot of you've got the documentation on one side, so you can figure out what the function parameters are for all the stuff you're calling, and then you've got your code on the other side. And with TypeScript, that stuff's going to be end up being built into the IDE, and so no longer will you get the argument order of filters wrong and stuff like that. So it'll make things a lot better, I think.
Yes, Ethan. Only challenge we as a developer is that we are not sure whether we would be able to apply that in the customer project because the customer requirements or the library version would be different.
Yeah.
Awesome. So I think you already mentioned that new announcement and the tools that was shown at the event at SAP Build Code. Kirtan, I think you wanted to talk about that.
Yes, I want to talk about exactly the same thing Akhil has told, like SAP Build Code. And I have gone through one demo pod in SAP Taker where I and one of my colleagues went to the demo pod, and one person is demoing with that Joule app, and they have created they are giving some commands like what and all entities they needed. They're giving it as a command, and Joule is giving all entities for that. And in case if we want to change that into customer requirement also, it is giving the same. It is changing the code, and it is changing the entities, and it will. After seeing that, I'll be quite surprised and little bit scared. What and all developers uh, if the Joule is recommending everything means what the developers will do. I had a question at the time, but on the perspective of Vinita, maybe now I'm a little bit clear about that point. Yes, maybe if it is recommending also, we have to do some customizations based on our customer requirement, maybe. Yes. And I got to one more thing I got to attend in our tech is uh, sales order completion something. It's based on some machine learning thing. What they are doing, they are clicking an image of some old receipt which is having some sales order number, which is not even clear. Like they are clicking an image of that. Then after clicking that, it is created as a sale order in SAP HANA on premise. Like what they have told is they are using some machine learning and generative AI take those uh, take those images as HANA vectors. This is what I understood from this. I am very new to those generative AI and artificial intelligence. I need to cope up with that new technologies. Yes,
Yeah,
that's it from my.
they've also
No, you.
Yeah, please go ahead.
Sorry, I was just continuing, Kirtana. She brought up the very interesting point, which is actually there was a demo shown in TechEd, like they were converting the image to text, and that is very helpful because I worked into a similar environment in past, and I've seen like when we get these images, and SAP is coming up with very great idea about the Gen AI to be converting these images into a text format and then correlating within the backend table to fetch the data and populate the complete history of the transactions. So that was really interesting on that.
And there was an announcement of preview access to this tool. There was a link shown where you could register. And we just got news that some access was given to some mindset folks. So we will definitely be trying this hands-on shortly. But if you are interested, I would encourage you to sign up. I've heard mixed success about that. I've signed up for my own account and have not heard anything back, but hopefully it will be available soon because we really, I think, all developers want to do hands-on work all the time, so that's very helpful. All right. So another topic is business process improvement, and with it, process mining solutions were also big subjects at TechEd and at the ASAC Tech Connect as well. And shameless plug, I have just shared the blog post on Mindset blog about process mining. It's very kind of beginner level information. So if anyone is interested, please look it up on our website. But Rajesh, you wanted to share some updates about SAP Signavio. Please go ahead.
I had attended a couple of sessions for the SAP Signavio. Just wanted to understand holistically what is coming up new and what new features been introduced in for 2023, which is gonna be change for the Intel this entire process mining solutions. So there are many changes that is coming up with, like SAP Signavio. They have introduced the line of new features. I'll just take the high level bullet points about like this is process intelligence. The SAP is coming up with Signavio, the new Signavio 2023, which is released. The first version was released on August Q3. And it is having like process insight, process intelligence, process manager. So which gives a very detailed overview. And also there now it is the intelligent automation. They talks about like we not only the AI always been when I was talking to one of the program manager, SAP program manager, who actually was giving a demo during this demo session for this SAP Signavio enhanced feature. So I was talking to him, and then all of a sudden he quoted one liner, like always there is a confusion within a business area. When we talk to customer always get confused about IA and the AI. So artificial intelligence, definitely we are infusing across the products within an SAP platform. But Signavio, it is also coming up with an IA, that is an intelligent automation, which gives a large platform for the businesses to integrate their process, automate their business process. There are periodical and regular tasks that the customer currently they are doing it, and they are using a third-party application to do an automation. That flexibility comes within SAP Signavio new features where all these processes can be automated directly. So no changes. So this is completely these all new features which is going to enhance SAP Signavio feature for the business going forward.
Thank you, Rajesh. So there was a demo jam event, like it used to be at TechEd before, and Mindset team, I understand, participated this year, and we were one of the one of the winners? Is that correct? Did I get that right?
We were
We
one
were
of the
finalists, one of the
finalists.
6
finalists. Okay, gotcha. Yes, there was just one winner, I guess. Yeah, I heard Mindset name somewhere, mentioned somewhere, and I just get very excited. So who wants to talk about that?
Yeah, I can start that, and definitely yeah. So demo jam, our team did a wonderful presentation on stage. It was on time, very intelligently planned, and the team was projected their work on screen. Rightly, but yeah, so I think it was a very neck to neck. I would say it was very tough competition with the two product that is coming up with the first the demo jam winner has projected the it was all the pharma product, where it gives a very comparative analysis of the marketing strategy, which is which is definitely gonna change affect millions of people, who's very difficult to identify the right medicine. So our product was a comparatively similar way. Like we identify Mindset. Our team has built the product, which gives a very like it gives a very detailed overview of what allergic you are. Whether you should not be eating any food, end up eating any food. You can select the menu. So that gives a very so it was a very tough competition between these two participants, and our team has presented very well on the stage. Alan, yeah.
The team did a really nice job. They overcame a couple, like a little technical difficulty, I would say, but yeah, the idea that they had was pretty cool. I think all of the I think every one of the 6 contestants used Gen AI somewhere in their demo. So our team gathered information about food preferences and allergies, like Rajesh said, and then used ChatGPT to recommend a dish that they could eat from that a restaurant could make on their menu. So it's sort of like a choose your own recipe restaurant, like a short order type of restaurant, but with Gen AI recommendations. And they use SAP Build apps to build it, and SAP Workzone and Task Center and all that kind of stuff for managing the tickets in the restaurant. So it was a nice little demo of how you can build something pretty easily and pretty fast with BTP and with Gen AI. There were some very snazzy demos there, I gotta say. So yeah. some of the SAP teams in the demo jam maybe went a little overboard on their productization. But there was some really cool stuff. There was one that had SAC, the SAP Analytics Cloud, and built Microsoft Office plugins to embed SAP Analytics Cloud visualizations into Microsoft Office documents, and then use like a Copilot type of interface to just generate visualizations on the fly to embed into the documents. It was pretty awesome.
Yeah. I totally agree. And if we talk about the product impact, when we there are different categorizations when they select the winner. So they see the product, how much the SAP is being infused, and also how it is going to impact the normal people. Like when it goes to the like B2C, for example, it is how it is going to impact to the B2C market. So the product between these two, when I say it was a very tough competition between the mindset and the winner team, because both is creating the similar impact. Because when the winner team has created a product which compare the fake drug between the right drug to be selected through the comparative data analytics program. Similarly, our mindset team, what the application they have built, it gives a very comprehensive analysis of what food allergy that may cause you sick. So that is something which was a very it was interesting, and it is definitely going to be a significant impact to the market.
Yeah,
I felt
definitely.
there was one more scenario which was related to the impact of environment where humans cannot reach. So there was one scenario to detect hazardous material. So it was a scenario where if a human is going to detect those dangerous material, the life might be at risk. So they used PTP as a tool to detect those materials, and once you get it, you will get a notification via event mesh, and which will help you to locate the material without the cost of human lives. So
Yeah.
that was also one of the interesting scenarios which came. I think the whole tech kit was different scenarios how BTP can be implemented. May it be healthcare industry, may it be food, may it be retail, may it be all the areas we can imagine of. There was one more scenario in healthcare, but not a part of demo jam, which was related to how Parkinson's can be identified and the dosage can be given, like what amount of medicine dose can be given to the patient which is impacted by Parkinson's. So this was also one of the interesting scenario which we found out in TechKit.
Yeah. One thing I kind of want to mention is that, like, with all of these different scenarios, I think every single one of these scenarios was sold as using generative AI. But I think one thing people need to keep in mind is that not all of those scenarios actually did use Gen AI. So the winning demo jam scenario that Rajesh, you were talking about, where it was supposedly able to identify fake medicine versus real medicine, that was using the conventional image recognition model. It wasn't Gen AI.
It is.
But that was the right model to use for that scenario. And then the hazardous material demo also wasn't using Gen AI. It was using a time series analysis model.
Yes.
As far as I could tell.
Yeah.
So like this stuff is stuff that was called machine learning like a year ago. But now everybody's calling it Gen AI. So I think people just need to be cognizant of that. And when you're designing solutions, so if any listeners are actually into solution design, like don't get caught up in the hype and don't believe everything that vendors are telling you about how they're executing on these models. Because if you try to use Gen AI for something like drug recognition, well, it's not going to work very well because that's not what it's good at. So yeah, just kind of look under the covers a little bit and try to think critically about what people are actually doing, not what they're telling you they're doing.
So the right tool for the right job. I think it's a message that should be, I don't know, written somewhere in stone on the wall. So there was just a little bit of controversy around the demo jam. Because teams from SAP were also competing in that event, and there were actually quite a few of them. I think like more than a half of something
maybe
like
four.
that.
It's kind of hard to tell.
Yeah. So some questions were raised, like, how come like we're competing with SAP when SAP is essentially the owner of technology and organizer of the event. And I know those concerns have been raised publicly, and SAP just very actively refuted any potential allegations of impropriety. And I totally understand that the competition process itself and selection process, they might be totally neutral. So they're saying that entries are essentially anonymized and then presented so no one knows from the judges who is who. But at the same time, I'm kind of thinking it's like, imagine, schools, like there are areas where very rich and affluent people live and they have a school in their area where kids go from those families, and there is a more poor family area where also school and kids go there. They're definitely given totally different opportunities, seemingly how they have grown up, how those schools are funded, what they have access to. So to me it's somewhat similar, I think, saying that anyone can compete with SAP, even in the most ethical and anonymous way. It's kind of BS, like, isn't it? I don't know if I'm alone in that kind of thought, but
No, when we saw the demos, like, not all the SAP teams had these sort of resources, but clearly several of the SAP teams had access to a large amount of resources and capabilities in order to build their demo. Which, I mean, that's what you get when you have SAP teams participating. Like, they have access to the best, and they'll use it as they should. So, it is what it is. If that's the decision SAP wants to make, I think we're happy to be able to participate in the demo jam and to have made it to be a finalist. I think it's a really great commentary on the effort that the team put in and the cool idea they had, and the ability to execute it. If they weren't able to win because it didn't go perfectly or because the presentation wasn't as good, that's fair. They were also sort of starting out behind, I agree, because I think a lot of the SAP teams had a built-in advantage. So, it is what it is, but I'm really glad they were able to participate.
Yeah, I think no one wants to exclude SAP on purpose, but we need to account for the fact that in preparation, I think they definitely just have an advantage by the fact of within organization. So,
Yeah.
Awesome. So before we, so I wanted to chat for just a very short bit about ASAC Tech Connect, where I went. Before we move on to that subject, does anyone want to talk about what surprised you at TechEd? Something that maybe you did not expect and came out of nowhere?
Joule.
Joule was a big surprise. So was it a surprise in a good way or in a bad way?
So, I mean, what good thing I can tell is that, okay, they introduce a copilot on Joule, but it's all over BTP. Whichever service you take, whether it is BPA, whether it is uh, anything related to cloud services, except integration suite, I could see that most of the pretty used services, the footprint of Joule is there. A single copilot service for all the apps. I'm not most of the widely used services, yeah, which is a pretty good work.
Yeah, it's definitely, it's brand new. It was just recently announced, and I think it's I guess it's like I was called it like Clippy for SAP BTP. I don't know. You're probably all too young to remember the infamous Microsoft assistant that was plugged into Microsoft products and was super annoying, and it just made very many jokes in IT world. So Joule, I hope, has better experience than Microsoft Clippy did. But it seems to be kind of spreading its tentacles everywhere. And I guess that might be the actual point of it. All right, so just a quick update from ASAC Tech Connect. There was an event the following week after SAP TechEd. It was run by ASAC in New Orleans, obviously United States, because ASAC is SAP North America SAP user group. I got a chance to present there together with Paul Moderman, who used to work at Mindset as well. And it was a great event. I think it was definitely smaller in scale than TechEd was before, and that's totally fine. That's expected because it's the first event of its kind. But what I really liked is there were a lot of people, a lot of customers, and the organization of the event format itself, I thought was really good. It was more similar to our ASAC chapter meetings. If you have ever gone, you're probably familiar. There are built-in breaks when you have designated time where nothing else is happening, where you can go around and talk to people and talk to vendors or whomever. I thought that was really good because in TechEd before, it was always kind of run from one session to another. And sometimes there was no time to just kind of take a breath and just talk to other people. So I got a chance to talk to many customers, and most of people who were there, I believe, they were in the place where they were migrating from ECC to S/4HANA, or just making plans for it, or they have just very recently migrated. So lots of conversations there, which was stark contrast, I think, with TechEd, which was cutting edge, AI, Joule, etc. It was also presented at Tech Connect, but it definitely wasn't the focus of the event, which I felt was more practical. So I thought it was really good, and I hope that these events continue to run in person. We definitely, I think, need to get back into in-person format. All right. So to wrap up our conversation, I want to ask everyone the question that I borrowed from OpenSAP courses. They all end up with a question which sounds, I wish I like, which is something that I enjoyed and I wish is something that would have been done differently, or something that wasn't there. So let's just go around and in the same sequence as I'm seeing you guys on my Zoom screen. So there is no special principle. So let's talk about our wish list and our kind of our like. So Ethan, do you want to share your I wish I like?
Yeah, I mean, I think what we do the I wish first. Is that how it works? So that we end on a good note.
Doesn't matter.
Okay.
Any order is fine. Yeah.
I wish that some of the AV problems had not occurred. There were serious issues. The biggest issues probably being with the keynotes, where you saw on virtual TechEd, you saw one half of the issues. In person, we kind of saw the other half of the issues, where most of the time we couldn't see the speaker. Because they were just like a little dot on the stage, and all the screens were showing the presentation, and none of the screens were showing the speaker, even though there were 6 screens. So that could have been a lot better. What I really liked was that the way the conference is, it's kind of laid out and organized in Bangalore. The location was not the most convenient in the world, but when the show floor and sessions were open, it was all in one space. So everybody was together, and there wasn't. I think it made it a lot easier to kind of just run into people. Whereas sometimes in conferences like Sapphire or something like that, there are like multiple spaces, kind of, and sometimes people just are in one area and you just never see them. So I really like the layout of the conference.
Awesome. Akhil, do you want to share your like I wish?
So I mean, what I liked with respect, I mean, I got to meet a lot of people, and I was able to understand the thought process of a lot of people who are behind the latest technologies, which give a pretty good opportunity, because I want to understand how they think, because it will help me to learn. That is a good thing. And bad, I can't point anything now because it was my first offline, and I haven't much experience with the offline ones. Yeah. That's all.
Thank you. Vinita, do you want to share yours?
I wish the hands-on sessions which were there actually in place would have been more descriptive. Git links were given to try on hands-on, but the introduction part is where I thought it was missing a bit. It should have been briefed very well before you go for hands-on sessions. So I thought that is a bit of a gap there. But I think I like a couple of things. The conversation between Kulmeet Baba and Rakesh Sharma was amazing. That was the way you could see the other perspective of how a pilot lives their life and what challenges they face. It is completely different from IT, but it's a way how to live a life. So that was one of the things I liked, and I think everything was well planned. The other thing I felt I wish would have been there was specific break times, because I feel that even during the lunch breaks, there were sessions. So it was vast variety of sessions you have to pick up timings from. There was no specific gaps given between the sessions. So I think these 2 points is I would see in future.
Yeah, and hands-on, it's definitely very kind of hairy subject. It's been in TechEd before, and in my very first event, I went into the full like 4 hour hands-on session, which was just brutal, and many people then laughed at me, said it was rookie mistake to go to sign in for 4 hour hands-on session at TechEd. But I agree with you. My impression was also from the later hands-on that I attempted. There was sometimes, I think the person who was presenting, they knew so well already what this all was about, but everyone in the room, at least most of them, they had no clue like what's happening. They had only the subject and very limited knowledge about what's going to happen there. It's I think it's definitely a challenge for both presenters and for the learners as well, but I hope that organizers are listening to the feedback that people provide and then learn from it for the future events. So yeah, it would be good to hear very positive feedbacks. So far, it's, I think, overall impression is it's great that they're there. It's a really awesome experience, but could have been done better. Excellent. So Kirtana, what's your like a wish?
Yes, the first thing I like is the networking. I was able to connect with many people from many regions, and like for we'll be doing the Devtoberfest, some SAP developer challenges. Thomas Chung and many more peoples were there in the developer keynote. And the second thing I like is that SAP events application which we installed in our mobile. Even if we are not able to attend many hands-on session or any community talks over there, we can have that reference in our mobile. Still now we are able to see those references and things. And what they can improve is I can see lot of repetitive sessions going simultaneously. So that thing they can improve, and like it's the day is fully loaded with much of sessions. Maybe maybe they can provide especially in the demo pod sessions and some talks and all. People don't have seats. People continuously standing for continuously 3 to 4 hours. That thing they can improve. And one more thing I like in that event is SAP Developer Garage, which they are encouraging the people to complete some learning paths, and they also provided some goodies for that. And the final thing is they have done some SAP quiz for every 1 hour, I think. The questions will be based out on SAP Techer 2023. On that event itself, they have asked some difficult questions also they have asked, and some easy questions also they have asked. Yes, that's it from my
Yeah,
side.
nice. Yeah, I've kind of had the challenge with setting up my agenda for this conferences, and ASAC Tech Connect, it suffered slightly less from that effect because it was probably just smaller scale, and I think they tended to have like bigger rooms where they would just bring more people into the session. I remember I had similar challenge at TechEds before when there are, let's say, there are several sessions and they seem very similar. I'm almost thinking it might actually be beneficial to have the same exact session, but running at the same time so that different people can attend at different times. But then at least you would be clear that it's the same session, it's the same content, because sometimes you look at it like, I can't really understand how these three are different. They seem the same, but like, should I attend all three? But then if you go frequently, you would see repetitive content like, okay, I've already seen it, why am I here? So yeah, it's definitely feedback I hope that organizers are gonna take to heart. And Rajesh, again last but not least, what's your I wish I like?
I wish the demo pad sessions, like what I like the most, first thing is like they have launched the mobile app, which gives a lot of flexibility to all of us to select our session. I was very well managed my time within the sessions, and I was able to visualize if there is if the session is conflicting with my lunch time, or if I missed that session within due to some other conflict, or if I'm meeting someone during that time I had scheduled. So I have an opportunity where I can go and take the session next, which is scheduled for the next day. So I was having that level of visibility, which was not I've not seen in my past decade attendance. But yes, this is how it worked. I think it was very SAP might have not anticipated this crowd will physically present into a session. Every demo pad was fully packed. The time the keynotes got over, and more focus on AI, Gen AI, and it is like entire crowd was towards those workshop roadmap. Everything is packed, and whichever session we have booked, if I'm not 10-15 minutes early to the session, I would it's very difficult to find the headset, and without headset you can't even hear what exactly is being presented. You won't be allowed inside to stand somewhere in the corner and look at the screen. Same happening with me when some of the demo pads were fully packed, people already standing there, because it wasn't the demo pad is whatever you have booked, it's an open session where you can just go stand and you can discuss. So until by the time you reach out to the presenter, it's half of the session is almost over. So it was like very difficult. Then in a narrative view, if you ask me, if I compare, like virtual session was more effective. Like whatever session I have missed due to this crowd, or I was not able to manage the headset, yes, I attended those sessions virtually just to get myself upskill, and it is kind of a double work for me to again get into it. But yes, it was a good opportunity to connect a lot of people whom I know I've not met for last almost 4, 5, 6 years. We might be just exchanging email, WhatsApp chat. Physical presence was a good networking. Got a very potential opportunity to, and definitely after our demo jam, a few of the like client side of contact who were attending this SAP TechEd, they came all the way looking at us and started talking about their future plan. That's a great opportunity, because that's helps to build the networking, because someone is looking out for. So that was a great opportunity for all of us. So it was a very very collective view from my side. Yeah, so there was a technical glitch, there was a very positive networking side. So yeah, it was mix of social and technical both together. Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah, and I got kind of similar feedback from many people at ASAC Tech Connect. I think people are eager to get to those in-person events again. They're eager to talk to their colleagues, to other SAP professionals, and I really hope that those events are going to return and they're going to be better. And I don't know if bigger is not always the factor, but I hope that we will get back there, because we need to communicate, we need to network, meet new people, meet maybe some old friends or colleagues we have known before, and I think it's great that we can continue doing that. So there is hoping for more and better events next year. And yeah, so this is a nice wrap up, I feel, and thank everyone for listening, and we'll see you next time. Bye everyone.
Thank you. Bye.
Thank you.
Elena.
Thanks,
Have a great
Elena.
day.
Thanks, everyone. Bye-bye.